Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. You know, as the weather is getting cooler and the nights are getting longer, I start to crave the kind of food that just makes a home feel cozy and warm. You know, those little bites that you can share over some relaxing music or some nice conversation or just curled up with a blanket watching your favorite show. Years ago, there was a snowy night when one of my friends showed up out of the blue, and I didn't have a lot in the fridge, but I pulled together a few simple things and we just sat in the living room by the coffee table and the fire, just talking for hours while the snow kept falling outside. It created such a nice winter memory, and it wasn't a lot of fuss. It was just sharing what we have simply and with love. So today I'm sharing 4 simple appetizers that are perfect for winter evenings at home, whether you're entertaining a few friends or just treating yourself to something special. Let's start with one that looks and tastes delicious. Now this first one is what I make when I need something delicious right now. And it's elegant enough for company, but also simple enough for a quiet night in. I call it winter Boursin spread, and it's as easy as it is delicious. Start with a round or 2 of Boursin cheese, depending on how much of this you want to make. And I'm using the garlic and herb flavor, but you can really use any of the flavors. You can't go wrong with any of them. And this cheese is so great because it's one of those things that just makes it look like you put in more effort than you actually did. Now just set it on your serving platter and use the back of a spoon to smush it down. And you don't need to be perfect with it, just let the edges be a little rustic and uneven because that's the way real food looks anyway. Then sprinkle on some chopped walnuts, and I also put on a handful of sunflower seeds for some crunch. And about a 1/4 cup or so of dried cranberries for some color. And I love using cranberries because they just look like winter berries on snow, and it's so cheerful and festive. Lastly, drizzle on a bit of honey over the top. Then serve it up with crackers or a few slices of bread. And this is creamy and sweet and savory all at the same time. And it's the kind of thing that makes people think you threw a party just for them, even if you're just eating it in your slippers. Next up is a cozy twist on a classic, Italian style deviled eggs. They've got all that creamy goodness that you love, but with the addition of salami and Parmesan cheese. Familiar enough, but they'll surprise people in the best way possible. For these Italian style deviled eggs, start with 6 hard-boiled eggs and slice them in half and scoop out the yolks. I'm not sure why, but there's always one rebel yolk that refuses to come out cleanly. But you know what? Perfection in the kitchen is way overrated. I once read in the 1950s, people would make deviled eggs for just about every gathering, picnics and potlucks, mostly because they looked fancy, but also because they were inexpensive, portable, and they didn't need any special equipment besides a spoon. And honestly, not much has changed. Now to the yolks, add 1/4 cup of mayonnaise, 2 tablespoons of Parmesan cheese, a little bit of garlic powder, a few shakes of pepper, 2 chopped green onions, and a tablespoon of mustard. Then the last magic ingredient is a few slices of Genoa salami, and you'll just want to chop this up into fine little pieces. The Parmesan and the salami is what gives these eggs that unique Italian swagger. And no need to add any salt to this either because the Parmesan and the salami already have enough in there. Now mix it all up until it's smooth and then either spoon or pipe the filling into the eggs. Try not to eat half of them while you're doing this part. Sprinkle with a bit of parsley or paprika if you have it. And these keep beautifully in the fridge, but I'll warn you that if you open the door too often, they'll vanish one by one, and that's just part of the deal. All right, this next one is fun and a little unexpected. These Beefy tortilla spirals are hearty and so satisfying. They're one of those recipes that when you're making them, people will come into the kitchen and ask you what smells so good. Start with 1 pound of ground beef in a mixing bowl. Then add 1 egg, a teaspoon of salt, a few shakes of pepper, and a few shakes of garlic powder, and a half a teaspoon of paprika. Give it all a good stir, just enough to combine. Then take a flour tortilla and spread half the beef mixture onto it. Now this part always feels a little bit wrong, and I'm sure some of you are thinking, what on earth is she doing? She's putting raw meat on her tortilla. But stay with me because we are going somewhere delicious. Once you've spread it to the edges, just roll it up tight like you're wrapping a little present. Then take the rest of the meat mixture and do the same thing with a second tortilla. Slice it into rounds and don't worry if a few are uneven. Then just thread the rounds onto some wooden skewers, and if you want to make them appetizer size, you can just put one on a smaller skewer, or if you want to make them part of a main dish, thread a few of them on a longer skewer. Then line them up on a baking sheet and brush them with a little bit of olive oil. They'll look a little bit odd now, but 15 minutes at 400 degrees will turn them golden, sizzling, and absolutely irresistible. When they come out, the kitchen smells like every good memory of dinner you've ever had. And just serve them warm with some salsa or honey mustard or any other sauce that you have in the fridge that you think might work. And finally, something with a little Mediterranean charm. Marinated olives with roasted red pepper. Now what I love about this is it looks fancy, but it only takes less than 5 minutes to prepare, and the flavor just gets better and better as it sits. Now this last one might be the easiest thing that you make all year. Just start with a jar of pitted olives, and you can use any kind you like. The fancy ones are lovely, but the regular grocery store variety work just as well. Drain them and pour them into your serving dish, and don't overthink it. Olives are confident little things. They don't need much help at all. Then we'll just take a little bit of olive oil, about 1/4 cup, a half a teaspoon of pepper and some garlic powder, and a teaspoon of Italian seasoning. Then I just take a jar of roasted red peppers, which you can find in any grocery store, and we'll just chop some up in little pieces, and I'm using about 1/4 cup. Add them to the olives and stir them together. This always reminds me of those old Italian kitchens where a bowl of olives sat out on the counter, and every time somebody walks by, 1 or 2 would get eaten. Then just let them sit for about an hour at room temperature, and that's when the flavors start to mingle and turn into something delicious. And these will keep beautifully in the fridge for several days, and like most things though that are this good, they'll rarely last that long. What I love about these small bites is how well they keep. You can make them a day or 2 ahead of time, and they hold up beautifully in the fridge for a few days. And the flavors have a chance to mingle, and they taste even better once they've had a chance to sit. It just reminds me of those old-fashioned traditions that I just love so much. You know, when people had their kitchens and their larders stocked with jars of pickles and cold meats and cheeses. And whenever someone stopped by or the afternoon just felt kind of long and quiet, you could go into the fridge, pull out a few small plates, and just make the moment feel special again. And I don't know about you, but for me, it just makes me feel that there's a little bit of peace in that. Just knowing that with a little bit of preparation, you can just have something lovely on hand to share with a friend or just enjoy on your own. And there you have it, 4 simple, easy appetizers for cozy winter evenings. Each one of these is simple enough for an ordinary night, but fancy enough for company too. And sometimes the best gatherings aren't planned. They just happen right in the middle of your kitchen or your living room with something good to nibble on and someone kind to share it with. If you try one of these, let me know in the comments which one appealed to you the most. I want to thank you so much for choosing to spend a bit of your day with me. Many blessings to you and your families. Take care, and we'll catch you in the next one.